All right, good morning Queensland and good morning Warwick. It's lovely to be back in Warwick and joined with Minister Glenn Butcher. It's his birthday today, so happy birthday Glenn, and to your twin brother as well. It's wonderful to be here with the Mayor, Vic, and of course Nancy from Toowoomba Regional Council. So first of all, I'll just give the COVID update if I can. So we have 0 new cases in Queensland today. We have 1 historical case, and we have now 43 active cases in our hospitals. We have 8,128 tests in the past 24 hours, which is great. So once again, Queensland, if you are feeling sick, make sure you go and get that test. And 2,664 vaccinations were administered yesterday, and in total we've done 117,763. So of course that's wonderful news. But of course today our restrictions have been lifted, and that is wonderful news, especially to the families who can now go and see loved ones in hospitals, in aged care facilities and in our disability homes across Queensland. So that's wonderful news, and we don't have to wear our masks except for if you're travelling in an airport. But of course if you are in a shopping centre or public transport and you feel that you can't socially distance, then please have that mask with you. Now today we have some more good news for the residents, especially in the Southern Downs region, but also from Toowoomba to the Southern Downs. And this is of course our next step in our drought resilience package. Look, everyone knows that the areas, especially around Toowoomba, around Stanthorpe, have been really hard hit with the drought, and our government stepped in, as we should do, and I'm really proud that we did that. And we put in $15 million for that water carting from Warwick to Stanthorpe. And it's great to see that Stanthorpe now has had that rain and that water carting is not needed. But we still need to continue with my commitment to build that pipeline from Toowoomba through out here to Warwick. And we've now also planned to include the townships of Cambodia, Greenmount, Nobby and Clifton. That's going to be part of the feasibility study that Minister Glenn Butcher is releasing today. So our next package is $20 million of our Southern Downs drought resilience measure. This is our next stage of investment. So we had the $15 million for the water carting, and now we've got the $20 million of this resilience package. And if you can just bear with me, I'll just go through what those details are. $8 million in early works for the pipeline, including detailed design, surveying and geotech works. So that's going to be now the SEQ Water working with the Toowoomba Council, the Southern Downs Council about the pipeline. $4.6 million to reconnect groundwater to Allora, $1.4 million to assist the Southern Downs Regional Council to move industrial users to groundwater to free up more supply for urban use, and $4.5 million to increase Leslie Dam's capacity by upgrading its pumps and water treatment systems. So this is wonderful news for the region. $20 million that my government is very pleased to provide. And when we do get to the stage of building that pipeline, it will be 703 jobs. So once again, it's really good infrastructure for this region. It's going to drought-proof the region, and our government is absolutely committed to building that pipeline. Because we've had the extra rain, we've been able to do more work, which means those other townships will be added. And the Minister today is going to be releasing the feasibility study, and then we'll get on with the full business case. So it's all action stations up here for the Southern Downs and Toowoomba. I'll hand over to the Minister to say a few words on his birthday, and then the Mayor and the Councillor. Thanks.
Thank you, Premier, and it's great to be here on my birthday in the wonderful community of Warwick. We spent last night here, and the town has certainly changed, and just adding water to that scenario from when we were here a few months ago before it rained you can tell the difference in this community. And that's what today's announcement is about. Today we're releasing the feasibility report into the Toowoomba to Warwick pipeline. This outlines the need for these communities in the Southern Downs region all the way from Toowoomba to give them water security in this pipeline for the future. Today's announcement of the $20 million coming forward is for those the drought relief package that the Premier has mentioned already, to get this community to a stage where we can focus on getting the detailed business case done. We can get this project shovel ready for when we need it after a certain period of time. These announcements today give security to our commercial businesses here in the Warwick area, where we can get them off the town supply and get them onto our bores here in the region. It gives us an opportunity to start the detailed design of the Toowoomba to Warwick pipeline, which I know that this community has been looking for many, many years. Hearing from the people from Stanthorpe before Storm King Dam filled up, the situation in that community, even though they were getting support from the state government through the Premier's initiative to cut water, still had concerns that it wasn't a long-term source of water that they needed to rely on. What we can do now is secure a source of water into Warwick, so then if we need to later on, look at how we can get other options moving forward for places like Stanthorpe. So today it's a brilliant day, it's a glorious day here in Warwick, with a great announcement moving forward for water security in the region. This is on top of the $3 million that we've already invested, which we will be starting mid-year in relation to our water assessments for regional Queensland, and this Southern Downs Toowoomba being one of those. So not only are we looking at drought resilience package today, we've invested another $3 million for the two councils to look at longer term strategic options for water security for regional Queensland areas like Warwick and Stanthorpe and Toowoomba. So great to be here with the Premier today, turning up. I said not too many people get the Premier turn up on their birthday party. So thanks for coming to Warwick, Premier, and it is a great announcement, and we will continue to work now with the councils to get these detailed business cases done. If anyone's interested, the feasibility report will be on the Department of Water's website today. It will go live and you'll be able to get all the detail and where we're moving forward with this pipeline going forward. I'll hand over now to the Mayor.
Yeah, thanks, Vic.
Mayor Vic.
Thank you, and thank you, Premier, for your visit, and to the Minister as well. One thing that's loud and clear for me is the amount of involvement that the Premier has had with this issue. This issue isn't new, it's old. In fact, I had red hair when we began the pitch for more water and more water security, and I'm convinced that I won't have no hair when we get the final result, so I thank you for that. It's been really sobering for us as a local government to have the support from the state government in our times of need, and I've thanked the Premier many, many times, but it's great to thank you in person for the contribution that you made. The water supply to Stanthorpe was seamless, and albeit that they were on severe and serious water restrictions, they still had water. And it's great to know from a local government point of view that the state government is there to back you up in times of need, and thank you very much for that. The drought today, we're one day closer to the next drought, and unless we continue down a path of finding solutions to our problems, we will be faced with the same predicament next time. And so the detailed business case for me is the way forward of at least identifying whether it's affordable, whether it's not affordable. It's the next stage in the process, and I look forward to working collaboratively with the state government while we go through that process. The second component of that will alleviate things in the short term, but we have some long-term issues as well, and I know that the state government is at the table with us having those discussions in relation to what are we going to do in 100 years' time. Obviously the water supply that are here today were done by our forebears, and they've stood the test of time, but now we need to plan for the future. And I am truly grateful, Premier, that you are at the table with us during this time and planning for the future. I thank you very much for that. The other announcements, the announcement for Allora, that's I certainly wasn't expecting that one. So thank you for that, and it is part of the total package and part of the total solution. You know, there's 350 megs of water there. If we can access that, that will take away some of the pressure on the Leslie Dam site, and you know that I'm very grateful for that as well. Look, I don't think there's anything else to say. I'm happy to field some questions later. I think I'll hand over to Nancy.
Thanks, Nancy.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, Vic. And thank you, Premier, for being here, and for you on your birthday, of course. Look, it's important that all local governments these days collaborate in pretty well every aspect of the businesses that they do, and water no more so. So for us to be able to work together with our neighbours is very important. Having said that, it's important for our council to ensure that our long-term water sustainability remains intact. We've done a lot of work on our water business over many years, and we have water security for our Toowoomba bulk water supply to the 2050, and we want to maintain that. So it's important that this business case highlights just what impact may happen on our Toowoomba bulk water supply, and hopefully there won't be any impact, and we'll be able to continue on this journey fully supportive. Our council will need to make that decision once the business case is done, and hopefully we look forward to good long-term water security for everybody, Southern Downs, Toowoomba region, and you know, other council areas that we all have to work together with. So we'll look forward to seeing the end case once this business case is done, and go from there. Thank you.
Thanks. Happy to take a few questions. Don't be shy. Oh, we always hope that they're local jobs, and you know, that'll be the next stage of the process. But because we've had some of that rain, you know, there's not that huge rush. So the feasibility study will be released today, and then we've got the business case. So, you know, we want the councils to work very closely with SEQ Water, and I think we'll get a good result at the end of it. Lots of jobs and security of that water for the future.
How much has the recent rain helped things?
It has. Well, Storm King Dam is now full. My understanding is the Leslie Dam's about 28%. So, you know, there is a bit more supply now in the region, which is terrific, and thankfully we had that rain. But of course we know that Queensland is susceptible to drought, and we want to drought-proof this region.
Premier, are we going to be declared drought-free now in the Southern Downs?
I don't know if that's the case yet, because we still, you know, Leslie Dam's still at that 28%. So we will be still looking at any additional measures that may be needed. But it is good news that we've had that rain, and I'm quite sure that there's a lot of farmers and producers up here that are very thankful for the rain. That'll all be part of the business case, so we'll be working with the councils on that. Yeah.
Premier, Virgin's made a pretty good announcement today that they're going to be ramping things up to pre-pandemic levels domestically, and they're looking to hire more Queenslanders.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's great news. Of course, more jobs. Our economy is getting back to those pre-COVID levels as well. Extra jobs out there. We still know that some of the industries are still hurting with the end of JobKeeper, but it's wonderful to see, especially during these school holidays, people out and about supporting our businesses across Queensland.
Virgin specifically though?
Sorry? Yeah, great news about Virgin. That's wonderful. Extra jobs, and I encourage people to get out and explore more of Queensland.
How does it feel not be wearing masks?
Sorry?
How does it feel not be wearing masks?
Well, I did think about the 6-hour drive with a mask on, and so it's very, very good that the masks have come off. But that's, you know, it's the tremendous work that Queenslanders have done. I can't be more proud. I mean, honestly, you know, when you have these outbreaks, you know, you don't sleep and you get very concerned. But everyone stepped up. Everyone did what they were asked to do, and it means, you know, we can go back to the way we were, except for those. You know, got to make sure we check in at our bars and restaurants and cafes. But, you know, isn't it wonderful coming up to Anzac Day that we'll be able to really commemorate that day, to see our veterans out, families out. It's going to be it's going to be amazing. It's somewhere I didn't think we would be a year ago. So it's great news.
Given the rate of vaccination.
Now that you're easily done with down, so you're going to take up the room and use the light to consult the
Well, Camp, so what I can say about that is, look, we are still waiting on an answer from the federal government. It's a very simple question. Do you support it, yes or no? Do you support the international flights coming in? We can't proceed otherwise. And until we are vaccinated and we know that those levels are being... Yeah, if everyone can just stop back for a moment. Hello, good morning, how are you? Thank you. That's good. Thanks, everyone. So the lady passed there. So we just need to know from the federal government, are they going to allow those international flights in there? We know that the vaccination of all of Australia is now being pushed back. We still have international flights coming in to Queensland. We still have people overseas that are getting the virus and bringing that virus into Queensland. Like I said, I think it was from memory 43 active cases in our hospitals. So the virus is in our hospitals, and we have our staff looking after people in those hospitals because most of them are returning Queenslanders coming back home. So I do think, it's a serious issue. It's a serious proposal, but we need an answer out of the federal government. And now that National Cabinet's meeting twice a week, I'm quite sure I'm going to have more of an opportunity to raise it as well.
Given the rate of vaccinations, are you concerned that we further lockdown?
Sorry,
Given the rate of vaccinations, are you concerned that we further lockdown?
Well, we've actually had the reduction in the number of international flights coming into Queensland, and as you are seeing now, we are not getting those large numbers of positives in our hotel quarantine at the moment. So that's a good thing.
Premier, does the head of the Triple C still have your full support?
Yes.
How do you feel about twice weekly national cabinet meetings?
Well, I'm looking forward to the agenda, so we'll look at what the agenda has to hold first, and then I think it's going to be a big task to try and get everybody at the same time in the same place, because the jobs of premiers are pretty busy.
Just with the directions from the Industrial Relations Commission about masks.
Yes. The Health Minister will be commenting on that a little bit later, but our nurses, safety is paramount, and if the Commission believes that an audit needs to happen, that audit has to happen, and we've got to make sure that our workers are kept safe. So I welcome that finding, and the Health Minister will have more to say about that later on this afternoon.
Premier, just following on the pipeline.
Yes.
Do you have a completion date in mind?
Not at the moment, because we've got to get the business case done, and because we've had that extra rain, there's not that urgency that was needed before that rain came. So we can get it right, and it's great to have had the opportunity to consult with the councils, and I thank both the Southern Downs Council and Toowoomba Council for coming to the table and really working with us on this issue. We're working with the federal government really closely on that, and we're continuing the rollout of the vaccine in the Torres Strait. In fact, my Health Minister Yvette Darth will be travelling up to the Torres Strait tomorrow just to see how that vaccine rollout is going.
On the issue of vaccines, Premier, will you be establishing max vaccination hubs once overall supply issues have been resolved?
We've always had that on the agenda if needed. So that's something that we'll be discussing, obviously, at National Cabinet. And as I said yesterday, we don't have any papers yet, so I can't really comment about what's on the agenda if you don't have the papers.
Yeah. Premier, we've had a couple of your ministers coming out to the region last week. I believe Minister Butcher was here a few weeks ago, and Minister Furner here last week.
Yes, yep. We had one of our forums out here, I think, from memory, out at Stanthorpe, which was wonderful to see. And that's part of my government's program of making sure that ministers get out to the regions with stakeholders from a whole different range of the community, and they meet and discuss issues that are relevant to people.
And how important is your government's focus on regional Queensland?
It's absolutely very focused. In fact, the Minister's the Minister for Regional Development, and I know that Glenn takes that job very seriously, and he's getting out across the regions, and he's from the regions himself. He's from Gladstone.
And how do you feel about the demise of regional journalism?
Oh, just in general, I think regional journalism plays a really important role in telling those local stories that the local community wants to hear.
Just with the Triple C matters, Premier,
Yep.
just with the LGA apologies to the council, what's the government's response?
Yeah, look, just in relation to that too, the oversight body of the CCC is the Parliamentary Committee, the Parliamentary Crime and Corruption Committee, and they are actually in the process of doing their 5-yearly review of the CCC. So that review is already ongoing, really, it's happening.
Would you like the committee to look at legislation in regards to sacking of council?
Look, the issue about the sacking of the council was because the council didn't have the quorum. So, and because the charges were laid, they couldn't have the quorum, so the government had to take the action that they took. Yep. Okay.
And just
Lucky last.
Sorry.
That's right.
Just in the headlines this morning, does the state government support raising the age of criminal responsibility?
Look, there are no plans for that from the state perspective, but these are issues that are being discussed nationally, and there would have to be a national approach for that to happen. And I think that's the place that it should be discussed at the national meeting of the Attorneys General. Yep. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Good job. Done. Well done.
I think there's one of these wants to interview me.